got that adrenaline, Venom, not going with 'em, never gonna slow up in 'em, ready to snap any momentum.
Hey guys, Kwame here, and today we're doing another video for Escape from Tarkov. I wanted to touch on a very important topic for Escape from Tarkov, and that's the importance of scav runs. And I feel like other people don't really elaborate on this subject, but I feel like particularly for new and beginning players, this is a very important aspect of the game that you should definitely learn. In this video, I am going to attempt to help beginning and new players utilize their scav runs effectively so they can potentially make more money on their scav runs than they normally would. Scav runs are extremely important for new and beginning players. It gives them the opportunity to grasp the three most important aspects to learn Escape from Tarkov. These three things are learning the maps, game mechanics, and gunplay. Now, learning the maps, game mechanics, and gunplay, I will probably talk about in a separate video. For the purposes of this video, we're going to specifically talk about scav runs and how to utilize them. Scav runs allow you to learn all three of the important aspects at the same time without being affected by fear of losing your gear. There are two things that I do at the start of every single scav raid right at the beginning. First thing is I check the time, and the second thing is I check my gear. The time tells me how worried I should be about enemy players. The time says 41:59, so it's still fairly early into the raid, so chances are there will be more players still in the game. If the time was later, for example, around 30 minutes or less, then that tells me that the chances are there's only a small amount of players left in the game. The second thing that I do is check my gear. I noticed I only have a pistol, but I do have an army bag. So for me to loot, I would need to secure a better bag and a better weapon. That's the first important step that you need to take when you're doing scav runs. And there I just found an AKS 74U, so now I've got the gun. I got the gun covered, and I don't need to worry about being scared about running to an enemy player because I can actually fight him now. Unlike before, if I had a pistol, my chances of survival would be slim. But now, the first thing that you should definitely do is secure a weapon and secure a bag. You can normally do this in one go just by looking for other scavs. Other scavs can generally carry stuff like a shotgun or even Vepers or SKSs, and either one will do. Just have something better than a pistol. It will just make your life so much easier if you do this. You probably also noticed that I don't have much meds. I only have a bandage and an ibuprofen. So your next step should be to get your hands on some meds, and the next step should also be to get your hands on the loot. These two actually go hand in hand, so you should do this along the way of getting your loot. Here I decided to go kill some scavs. If you run into any scavs as a scavenger yourself, of course, kill them. You never know what they have on them, and they can have so many different things, such as meds, bigger bag, a bigger rig, which essentially gives you more space, and not to mention the bullets that comes with the guns that they have. It doesn't matter where you spawn on the map as a scav. What matters is the order. The order does not change. It doesn't matter where you spawn. Just stick with those three things. Secure a bag, secure weapon and bag, secure your meds, and then secure the loot, and then you'll be fine. Now, there's two different routes that I go when I'm doing my scav runs. It really just depends on what I'm in the mood for and what's closest to me. The first one would be, my intention would be to loot the computer parts, which would be located in like the idea store, Texho, Techlight, the Ollie store, that sort of a thing. And the second option you can take is to loot the military crates. Now, right now I am checking the bus for the there's a key that spawns in here, and it sells quite a fair bit on the market, and since I was next to it, I may as well check it. From here, I want to go check the duffel bags underneath the idea store, and the reason for this is because they can hold a whole bunch of different things. They can hold meds, not to mention the rare loot that they can potentially have, such as fuel conditioners and like sometimes even like lines and stuff, that sort of a thing. If you're having issues securing a bag at this stage, I suggest you run to the Scav spawn points. First is the main centered area near the Manta store. First and second floor, you'll find Scavs there. Second is the Ollie store. Third is the Goshan store. And fourth is the ramp area outside the Ollie store at the back near where the southeast extract is. If you're sitting there scratching your head wondering where you're supposed to go to get the loot, don't worry, I got you. Just follow exactly where I go and let that be your guide so you won't get lost. Just remember you're in a scav raid and it's okay to take your time and proceed carefully and at your own pace and look for the loot. There's no point in rushing it because like in this raid, for example, I've got 40 minutes. I got 40 minutes to look at all the places that I feel like I need to loot. You don't need to necessarily loot all these things, which I'm looking at right now in this guide, but just you get until you feel like you have enough loot. You feel like you have enough, you say okay, and that's it, and then you leave the raid. But it's entirely up to you, and this is just what I do. This isn't necessarily the right or wrong way. And I am aware that there are other places you can get loot on this map, but this is just what I do, and this is just what works for me, and this is what's comfortable for me. After looting these two office rooms, proceed through and continue on into the idea store where the rare loot spawns are. Don't forget to check all the shelvings here. The places that I check in the idea store is where all the rare loot spawn is, so that those things will be lions, horsies, and pussycats. After you finish checking all these places in the idea store, you're officially done with the idea store. And from then on, you can either decide what you want to do. But first things first, head on out into the front of the idea store, and from there you should decide what you want to do next. You either want to go to the escalators and proceed to go up the escalators to go find the G-phones and that sort of thing, or you can opt to go back downstairs and go loot the military crates. At this stage, you have two choices. You can either go into the underground car park and look for military crates, or you can go up these escalators right here and look for other electronics such as G-phones. I opted to go for the G-phones at this stage, which can be found in this store on the tables here. If you continue on forward here, as I am doing right now, you'll reach the main area where there will be potential scavs spawning in. So if you still needed that bag at this stage of the game, this is one of the areas where you can find the scavengers. After killing this scav, I wanted to go down the escalators and go to the Manta store on my left. In here you can find a whole bunch of different sorts of meds, which includes painkillers, or AI2s, or even Souleros, or car medkits, and sometimes even IFAKs. And I felt like I needed them, at least one of them, just in case I ran into an enemy player and I couldn't heal properly. So I wanted to go in here, and I knew I had time anyway. So it was okay for me to do this. Don't forget to look in all the shelvings and in the medical bags that are located here in the store. And don't forget also, in this corner right here where the duffel bag and the jacket is, on the shelving behind you can spawn rare loot such as horsies and also gold chains. The store opposite from the Manta store is another electronics shop. in here, don't forget to check the shelves and on some of the stools there for some more electronic goodies. Right next to this shop, there is a single military crate in the back right hand corner, so feel free to check that one out. I am now going to go back up the escalator, hang a left, and go all the way down towards the TechLight store. Now TechLight has a lot of computer parts and electronics in the store, and these items can be things like gas analyzers, G-phones, graphics cards, and power cords and that sort of a thing. So don't forget to check all the shelvings in the TechLight store, and don't forget to check at the back corner near the generator. There is a potential drop for a fuel conditioner. Very important and worth a lot of money. Not to mention you need it for a quest, so don't forget to check that out. If you need meds, even after all this time, feel free to check out the store opposite from the TechLight store. Check the cabinets, and don't forget to check underneath the cabinets as well. That's where meds can potentially spawn. Next, I'm going to hang a left and go down the escalators and check out the Texho store. And the Texho store is pretty much exactly the same as the TechLight store. Same deal. Check all the shelvings and whatnot and get the same sort of loot in there. After Texho, if you still need some more loot after all that, feel free to go into the shop across from Texho and look on the shelves and the cabinets in here, all the way along the wall. I've even found things like gas analyzers and bitcoins here before, and there's also a military crate on the couch. Also, just an FYI for new players, it might be a better idea to do your scav runs at night time. This just lessens your chance of running into a fully geared player, and you can concentrate on looting. And in this duffel bag here, I do manage to find myself something pretty valuable, which is a lion. And lions at the moment are going for about 150 to 170k on the flea market, so that's a big find. Next, we're going to hit up the Ollie store, which is directly in front of us. And in the Ollie store, there is a lot of items on the shelvings here, such as gas analyzers and propane tanks. But most of all, there's also scavs here if you happen to need a scav backpack at this stage of the game. And there's also a military crate right here. And also further on, we're going to find a very important scav backpack spawn. So if you're still struggling to find that scav backpack by now, you can definitely have a potential chance to find one in one of the spawns here. Right here on top of these boxes where I am aiming is the potential chance for a scav backpack to spawn. And there's also a duffel bag to the left of it. After checking the shelvings, the military crate and the scav backpack spawn in the Ollie store, head down to the escalators to go to the underground car park underneath the Ollie store. In the underground car park right here underneath the Ollie store is where a scav spawning point is. So just in case you need to kill some more scavs for any reason, they definitely can be found here. And there's also a military crate in one of the vans to the left where you can also potentially pick up some more loot. Now, if you want to be extra greedy, head back towards the escalator on the other side, and continue on and keep hugging the right wall to find a grenade box. Now grenades at this stage of the game, at least in this patch, they are very expensive, so it might be a good idea to hold on to those. Now underneath the ramp where the big hole is, there is a duffel bag and a military crate. And I just happen to find a fuel conditioner at this stage, which is very lucky. It currently costs about 220 to 250,000 K rupees on the flea market. So that's a really big find there. So that's probably the cue for me to hidey-ho and get the hell out of this raid. Now let's see how much I walked out of there with. Now upon leaving this raid and including everything that I picked up and selling it to the flea market, I did want to see how much money I actually made. So it took a fair while for the stuff to sell on the flea market. Sometimes that does happen, but it actually came to around a total of 670,000 rupees, and that's just in one scav run. And there's probably a lot better ways to do it. I'm sure many people have gotten much more than that in a single run, but I still think that's pretty good, and especially for beginners and such. I think that's like if you guys can manage to pull this off as a beginner, you'll be fine. You know. You will be building the bankroll and your stash in no time, man. Trust me. I just also wanted to point out that if you do not want to go for the electronics by doing that pathing, you could have done this pathing that I'm showing you right now, assuming that you went to the big hole, and you can loot the military crates down below in the underground car park instead. Sometimes you feel like this is actually better or safer, but I'll leave it to your discretion about which pathing you would like to go. Now continuing on from the big hole, if you decide to get the military crates down in the car parks, you could potentially come up from the big hole into the Rasmussen store on the left, and then heading up into the generic store on the right. In the generic store, there is a weapons locker, and there's also military crates. And also on the dummies right there, you can also potentially find body armors and also helmets that if you wanted to grab them. Sometimes you can even find gazelle armors here on the mannequins. So it's pretty important that you check them because you need the gazelle armors for a quest. And then continuing on into the Goshan registers. Go past it and continue right, and you will find another weapons crate further down behind one of the counters. Here at the little lockers right here, you can find bitcoins and gold chains and that sort of a thing here, but I usually just skip these, but I will leave that up to you. After that, head towards the back of the Goshan store and loot the military crates here, and not to mention jumping up on top of the truck, because there's a potential chance for an MPX to spawn on the boxes on top of the truck. Not to mention a potential chance for a fuel conditioner to spawn on top of the barrel next to the generator. I know this video was a little bit long, but I wanted to be very informative and full of good information for beginning players. I didn't really want to half-ass it or anything like that. And I hope this guide helped a lot of you, and I hope you guys learned a thing or two about how to make some money in scav raids on Interchange. And remember, this is just the way that I do it, and I try to stick to a similar pathing every single time I do scav raids, just to keep it simple. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future content, and if you like this sort of video, feel free to let me know, or if anyone has any ideas for a future video that they wouldn't mind me doing, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And you can also catch me on my live streams at twitch.tv/kwame_au. My schedule and other details are in the description box below. Enjoy the video, guys, and hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.
I got that.